Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday League Pundits channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing the Mesut Ozil situation. We're going to be discussing this different reasons why he's been excluded from the Arsenal squad. Is it just because due to football reasons, or is it due to political reasons? So let's get started.
So, just picking up on the footballing reasons, as Sachin mentioned. So, the first question arises to mind is that is Arteta following the Emery system? I mean, when Emery came to Arsenal, he first played Ozil, then he froze Ozil out of the squad. The same happened with Arteta. Before the coronavirus lockdown happened, Ozil was a regular in the team. I mean, Arsenal were playing with a different formation. It was a 4-2-3-1. Aubameyang in the left, Ozil in the hole, and like I said, up front, and sometimes Pepe or Saka, it changed in every match. So it's only tactical reasons, or there are more reasons attached to it? What do you think, Achin?
I think there's a mix of many reasons. So, I think if you see football itself, which are the teams which are winning right now. See Bayern, see Liverpool. They don't really have a number 10 in their squad. They don't have that player whose sole job is to just create. Like player like Ozil, their whole job is to thread a pass and to find that moment to change the game. So I think those type of players are really dying. So even if you see at City, David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, they did play that kind of role where they were just creators. But you see Guardiola's team as it evolved, De Bruyne was pushed deeper. Even Silva not as much as De Bruyne, but he also was sometimes pitching in with the defensive. So I think even both De Bruyne and David Silva, they did become more defensively responsible as Guardiola's stamp on the team increased more. So I think the traditional number 10 that we saw, like Juan Mata at Chelsea and Ozil at Arsenal. So I think that role is somewhat getting extinct. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Bruno is the only player I know that plays in a traditional number 10 in a big team, if you can call it a big team. And players like Mata, I mean, Silva and De Bruyne had to adapt their game massively. They became number 8s from 10s. So the modern football demands more hard-working players who can attack, defend, basically box-to-box midfielders, and who can run for 90 minutes. So you don't expect from a number 10. I mean, these attributes are not expected from a number 10. I mean, you don't expect to run from a length of the pitch to tackle a man and then be in the opposition box for a cross. So the football is changing. Obviously, it does not favor the traditional number 10s. But
so I think I agree with you that that role, the responsibility that every player in the team has. And you can say number 10s did not have that much responsibility before, as much as number 8 or number 6 does. So I think number 10s are really having to become number 8s. I think they can't be number 10 anymore. And I really think it's... what do you think? I'm confused a little about the fact that Arsenal got Partey in, and Partey is a player who is very defensively solid, and that could have helped Arteta fit Ozil into his system more, I think. Do you think that is a little confusing? That could have happened, and you saw in the Leicester match as well that they were lacking some sort of creative because a lot of balls were being misplaced. A lot of the final pass wasn't there. So I think Ozil would have really helped in that match. What do you think?
Obviously, Arsenal are lacking a creative midfielder. I mean, we are linked with Aouar. I mean, he's a creative midfielder. So we have got a world-class creative midfielder on the bench. He's not even on the bench right now. We are paying him 18 million a year. I mean, in the pandemic situation with the Arsenal Cup laid off 55 staffs and obviously laid off the Gunnosaurus which Mesut Ozil saved. Arsenal board is paying him 18 million pounds a year for him not to play football. So as far as I think, they are more than managerial and tactical reasons why Mesut Ozil is not in the team. I mean, he's not even made the Europa League squad. So I mean, it is a shame that it has to end like this because his contract expires after this season, and I don't think there will be a renewal. What do you think, Achin?
I think I agree with you. What do you think are the reasons apart from the football and apart from the style of Arteta, what he's trying to inculcate at Arsenal? What do you think could be the other reasons why?
I mean, obviously, the comment that Ozil made on Uyghur Muslims, he took Twitter to talk about that matter, and the game between Man City and Arsenal back in December 2019 was taken off air, and he was deleted from PES, Pro Evolution Soccer, and the Chinese social media at Weibo, his account was basically wiped out from Weibo. So these things obviously affect the Arsenal business back in China. So right now, owners only care about the money. Money is the biggest trophy. To be honest, if they earn enough money, though they don't care about the profits. They only care about the trophies because the higher you finish, the more amount you get, and you need to keep the club base happy to make more money. So I mean, these are the obvious reasons. You could say. Anything you would like to add in, Ajit?
I think I agree with you that money is like basically the final goal. I don't think owners are really chasing trophies right now. You see what the news, European Premier League, the big project, we discussed the project big picture. These are all plans. You can see that what do you see the base of these plans is a financial motive, is to earn more money. It's not to expand. It's not to make the big. It's not for the benefit of the fans. I think the club is made by its fans. How a big club becomes a big club is because of its fans. So I think that is the crucial point which a lot of clubs are missing right now. And even for, like you said, I think you're right. I think in China is a very big draw for any club, for any league, in terms of sponsorships, in terms of revenue. So I think they are putting that first over.
China has the highest population, so obviously, carry on.
So I think the sponsorships and the commercial and the club is becoming more of a commercial entity than what it actually was, and that there's something we can't even deny. I think Project Big Picture hasn't come into force, but you can really see that there's a disparity between the big clubs and the small clubs, and that is all because of the financial. Obviously there's a difference in players, but how do they have better players? Because of better finances. I think those finances are being prioritized, and I think that is sort of one of the main reasons why Ozil is the highest. Even Aubameyang still earns. Aubameyang has performed way better than Ozil in the recent seasons, but still he's earning less than Ozil. So if on the face of it, if you see when Alexis Sanchez left Arsenal for United and Ozil was given that contract to flourish at Arsenal, he didn't really get a chance either with Emery, and now we can see it with Arteta. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, since the news broke out that Ozil has not been selected into 25-man Europa League squad, I mean, it baffles me if there is any footballing situation involved in it. I mean, Ozil wants to play football. He took Twitter to tell the public about it. I mean, he's the best creative midfielder in the team. I mean, obviously, again, lesser teams, you would like to field him in. I don't see how Mesut Ozil is not good enough to play for Arsenal, even a single in the Europa League, or let alone a cup match or a league match. I mean, we need him desperately, and as you see, there's obviously more than footballing is involved. I mean, it really disheartens me as a fan to see him sitting on the bench with the umbrella. I mean, he really wants to play football, but right now the club only focuses on money. I mean, the revenue generated at the end of the year is the only goal of the club. I mean, it's not really about the fans right now, and I mean, the money matters the most. So that's it.
I agree with you. I agree completely with that. But I think we can't just say, because you're obviously a fan, and I've seen him play in the Premier League for the past season, and his creative prowess. But there are a few reasons he may be at fault. He has also sometimes shown a little unprofessionalism in terms of handling the situation. He could have been more professional, but I don't really think Europa League is not, with all the Champions League and Europa League, they're poles apart in terms of the squad you can field. I think even with Arsenal, you saw they were playing against.
This is coming from a United fan, so take that into account.
No. Still, even we saw, even if United was playing last season, we really saw that we were playing all the youth players. And I think one match in particular, I think against Partizan Belgrade, we played almost our academy, almost our whole academy, barring 2-3 players. So even you think the Europa League is a perfect opportunity for you to get those players around which may be out of favor or who are not starting at all. So I think for him to be even excluded out of the Europa League squad is just, as you said, baffling. But what do you think? What do you think is the whole politics around the situation? Do you think players should be outspoken about their political beliefs, or should they just focus on their football, as a lot of fans nowadays expect?
I have heard some of the pundits talk about the Mesut Ozil situation, and they have said that players should not mix politics with sports. So my only answer to them is that Black Lives Matters that the Premier League is campaigning is a political matter. The shirt sponsor on the Arsenal jerseys, Visit Rwanda, you can say is a political thing. So obviously politics and sports go in hand, and the Premier League and the clubs only care about those political things which help them make money. So the Mesut Ozil situation comments on the Uyghur Muslims and rest of the things that he has said obviously do not help their sponsors back in China, and they are losing money due to the comments Ozil is making. So in the Ozil situation, I mean, he has not only pissed off the sponsor of the club, but I would say he's also pissed off the sponsor of the Premier League, because China is boycotting the Premier League games and they are losing a lot of revenue due to it. So I really don't know what to say. It really hurts me as a fan to see Ozil on the bench. I mean,
so I agree. I think why you're disheartened, I can see. Even if you see the Newcastle takeover, that was why it was why it didn't go through. The Premier League gave a very vague reasoning that they withdrew their offer, and that and there was, you could see that the whole timeline of, if you see the timeline of the takeover, during, I think for a couple of months, I think 2 months was just in limbo. There was no news whether it's being reviewed, whether it's being considered, what's happening. And it was suddenly when the offer went away. And if you see what the project picture, I think some of it plays in terms of the bigger players. They might have been having a problem with the status quo being disturbed in terms of who are the big teams. And if Newcastle came in, I think that status quo has been already disturbed by Wolves and Leicester and all these teams come like these teams are now, it's not more of a big the top 8.
Sorry, Man City.
Yeah, even Man City has the same ownership as Newcastle would have had. There's not much of a difference. So I don't think my Man City was allowed. Even if you see with United. I'm not going to make this about United, but United had a leverage to take over. So they took over the club with debt. They financed the club taking over of the club with debt. So I don't think, if you see financially, ethically, that is not what Premier League would want. I think one of the biggest clubs in the league being on debt, taken over on debt, I think that doesn't also fit in. I don't see it as correct as well. So I don't think it is. I think it is very more political than it is about football. What do you think?
I mean, I would like to make a couple of points in the Newcastle takeover. I mean, the reasons, the statement that Premier League gave, and the statement that, so back in Saudi Arabia, there is a stream, or you can say a TV network, which basically pirates the Premier League matches, which the Premier League did not like, and they asked the Saudi government. I mean, they were basically the Saudi government that wanted to take over they wanted to take over Newcastle. So they asked them to stop the broadcasting, and there were a couple of journalists murdered back in Saudi Arabia in their reign. So I mean, that was a bit of a breaking point for the deal. I mean, I don't know much about it. I mean, that is the statement that came from both the sides. So and I think you have got a fair point saying that it would have led to the shift of the powers, because the Saudi owners were 10 times more in worth than the Man City. So you can estimate how things would have panned out for the big teams, so-called big teams.
Yeah, even the Newcastle was even, the fans were dreaming of getting Mbappe, or Bale back instead of Spurs. So I think, you really saw that dreams came crashing down. But still, I think even if you see the current situation, what do you see? If you see Rashford is not doing something political. He's not voicing his opinion politically, but his impact in terms of his work, charity work, and fight against child poverty, that is having political implications. That the parliament in UK, it is having to consider whether to extend food meals to whether to extend the program in the holiday season or not. I think that is also something we see some fans. I think the problem is that a lot of the antagonistic fans and on Twitter are more vocal than the ones who are more, you can say, balanced in their opinion. So I think they are also saying that focus on your football, and this is your job is to play football, and why are you doing this? And I don't think even Rashford, even Ozil is also doing charitable work as well.
He feeds around 14,000 students in the UK every month. He gives them free meals, and he has helped a lot of people with their surgeries. So basically, you can go to his page. He, along with his wife, do a lot of charity. And just giving a point on the Rashford situation, I mean, Rashford talked about that was something necessary. I mean, the underprivileged children back in the UK did not get their meals, so the government took the initiative, and Rashford has been awarded an MBE by the Queen. So Ozil did the same thing. He took Twitter to talk about the Uyghur Muslims, and it backfired, and it backfired massively. So it shows that basically these things are about the money. The things which help them make money, they will support it, and the things which go against their sponsors or their income, you can say, well, what is happening to Ozil right now. I think that this same would happen to any player.
Even Rashford, I think recently the UK Parliament, they rejected that extending it over the holiday season. So Rashford is, he's collaborating with whatever he's doing. He's collaborating with restaurants and everything. He's trying to pitch in himself. So I think even the government in that regard also, they helped him to a certain extent, but they're also trying to like corner him in a way and try to stop him being so vocal. And I think you can say like it's very classist. We can go about talking about government policy, but I think it's like what Rashford represents, all the Black Lives Matter. I think it's very integrated. The whole issue is very integrated. If you take a very hypothetical scenario, and for example, if Chelsea had American owners and Pulisic, who is American, and he made some statement against or for the upcoming US elections, and he said that he's favoring either Biden or he's either favoring Trump. If we say something like that, and if the owners had certain alliances, they might be with Trump or Biden, and they were somewhat, they didn't like what Pulisic said. So I think that could also have an impact on his prospects at Chelsea. He might be, right now he's very integral to their plans, when he could be out of the window. So I think like to wrap up the video, I think we can say that that it's more like politics is really impacting football in a way which we don't want as fans. We don't want politics. We want football to be. It's like football is like for us it's an escape. It's not something we see integrated with other issues. So I think football should be left alone in that regard. Fans, I think players have a platform, then they can utilize it in any way.
So that's it for this video. Let us know what do you think about the Ozil situation, and don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Thank you.